Well, I know. Another Tears of the Kingdom is awesome video, right? It's the last thing we needed. Well, what if you did not enjoy The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Now look, I'm not going to waste your time trying to lead you on. If you just outright hated or strongly disliked Breath of the Wild, then Tears of the Kingdom probably not going to do anything for you. However, if you, like me, were just lukewarm on Breath of the Wild, maybe you enjoyed it or you found some elements that you liked, but you didn't understand why it was getting all these 10s and why some people were calling it their favorite game ever made. I was honestly pretty skeptical on Tears of the Kingdom going in. I mean, it just seems like a few very short weeks ago that I made a video saying exactly why I didn't get the hype. Now the game is out, and truly, you guys, it is all I can think about right now. Basically, I'm either playing Tears of the Kingdom, thinking about playing Tears of the Kingdom, or editing videos for this YouTube channel. One of those three things is what I'm doing right now with my time. So what is it about this game that has won me over so much more? And I've been racking my brain the past few days, and I think I've narrowed it down to three things. And it all starts with the abilities. The abilities in this game, you guys, are absolutely insane. And when I say insane, it's like they're so simple at their core, and yet they just work 95% of the time. There are some times where things get a little weird. I've heard a lot of people saying it always works. No, it does not always work. I've already had two, not really game-breaking bugs, but there was this one moment where I got stuck underneath a raft, and there was no way for me to get out. I couldn't use any abilities. All I had to do was swim until my stamina depleted and died, and it basically let me restart. But 95% of the time, I would say, all of this just works, and it works so beautifully. And I wasn't even one of those people who loved this whole crafting system that they had going on in Breath of the Wild. And here it all comes together so much better because of the abilities. I've heard some people say, and it always sounds so cliche when they do, is that this makes Breath of the Wild feel like the 0.5 or like it was a beta test for this game. And after playing this now, man, I see why people would say that, because this one just feels so more polished, so much more put together. This feels like the game that they were trying to make back then, and I really think it all starts with these abilities. So let's talk about Fuse. When anybody pops into my stream and says, hey, I didn't love the weapons breaking down in Breath of the Wild, I'm like, guess what? I didn't either. This time, though, Fuse quite literally changes the game. It changes this whole mechanic. I'm one of those people who wants to get the 2 to 3 weapons that I really enjoy using and just stick with it, and I think that's part of the reason that Breath of the Wild frustrated me a lot, is because I would find something I like, and then you just have to count down the time until it breaks. And so I kept thinking, why do I not feel this way about Tears of the Kingdom? And it's all because of the fuse mechanic. I am constantly encouraged to take these just wide range of materials that they've given you in this game to fuse new weapons. And this is one of those areas I don't even want to look at guides. I don't even want to know what the best crafting things are. I do not want to know, because it encourages the experimentation with me. So now when a weapon breaks, it's kind of strange because I almost get a little excited because it opens up a slot, and now I get to experiment with some new weapon. Maybe I'm going to be able to find something even bigger, better, something even crazier. So if you had a problem with that in Breath of the Wild, I do think Fuse goes a long way to helping not fully remedy it, because it's not completely gone. I mean, it is still there, so if you just outright hate it, who knows how I'm going to be feeling if I do find a few weapons that I really, really love to fuse together and then I can never find the materials again. But right now, I'm just having so much fun with that experimentation. All right, Ascend. We got to talk about Ascend next. So Ascend is the ability that I keep forgetting to use. If you've been following games for a long time, you've almost certainly seen one of those infamous glitches where you glitch quite literally through the world. So your character can move through areas that they're not supposed to be able to move through. A lot of speedrunners actually use tactics like this to traverse from one area really far away to a completely different spot that you're probably not supposed to be able to do. I love how Tears of the Kingdom basically takes that idea and says, you know what, we're going to take the bug and we're going to turn it into a feature. We're going to add it as a feature, an ability that they want you to use, where you can quite literally pass through an enormous mountain or a simple platform, as long as it's above you and as long as it's kind of a smooth surface. You wouldn't think something like this would be such a game changer, but it absolutely is. So much so that I'm having to retrain my brain to actually use this. There was a moment the other day where I had this little rock above me, and I was looking all around trying to think, okay, what can I build to get up here? And then someone in my chat just popped in and said, Ascend. And it just, again, it's so simple. And yet for traversal, it is incredible. And I'm only scratching the surface. I mean, I'm still very early in the game right now. And then I touched on Ultra Hand a bit there. Ultra Hand, I'll be totally honest with you guys. Going in, I was skeptical of Ultra Hand. I am not one of those people who loves tinkering in games. I'm not. I don't want to build all these creations. That right there is all my son. My 9-year-old son absolutely loves the tinkering, the crafting, the building in games. He plays so much Fortnite and he just spends hours in creative building his own maps. So this is the mechanic when they showed it off. Again, it was one of those things where I just sort of felt uneasy. I don't think I'm really gonna get into this. And yet, now that the game is here, I'm totally into it, guys. I'm really trying to get into the psychology of it, and I think it's because you're constantly being tested. You're constantly having this little challenge of almost trying to one-up yourself in a way. There are some times when it's like, okay, I know I can build a bridge over this, but you know what? Instead, I'm going to try to just make something crazy ridiculous just to see if it will work. And then sometimes you have things that you didn't really intend, but hey, they work out. The other one is Recall, and admittedly, I have not used that one as much yet. I think there's a lot of potential for that one. However, to me, that one is the most similar to things that I have seen in games before. A lot of us were even talking about, at times, it reminds me of the old Prince of Persia, Sands of Time game. I mean, it's not quite like that. It has more of a focus on rewinding objects than necessarily, oh, I fell to my death, now I need to go back. So I don't want to speak as much on that one because I feel like I've barely just tapped into it at all yet. Did I say 3 things? That was all 1 right there. So moving on to number 2 of why I think this may win you over a little bit more if you didn't love Breath of the Wild, is that the story is better. It straight up is better. I am more invested in this story right from the beginning. They're doing a much better job of managing it, which is really difficult to do when you have this vast open world and you can quite literally go in any direction and do just about anything you want. There's this air of mystery right away of the story, of you wanting to find out what's next. What exactly is happening to Zelda? Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything here for you. But there's a point you're going to reach in the game where you have these sort of not really main missions, but they slowly start to peel back the layers of the story even more. And it's been a long time since I played Breath of the Wild, but I will say that as a whole, this feels more like the whole world. Everybody in Hyrule is aware of what's going on. There's a new mechanic, let's just say, of news getting around the world in this game. So it at least has a story reason for making sense of why all these people are going to be talking about this event that happened and why we can't find Zelda. And then third, we have the open world itself, which maybe I get some pushback from people who really love Breath of the Wild on this, but personally, I don't remember Breath of the Wild being this engaging, fun, enticing. Enticing might be a good word. I've already seen so many people talking about the fact that you'll set a marker on your map and it may be very close to you, but you can guarantee that on the way to that marker, you're going to find about 5 other things that will draw your attention away. Now, if all of these little extra things, though, weren't really drawing you in and it didn't seem worthwhile, then yeah, it would get annoying after a while. But so far, all of these little extra side things that keep drawing me in, every time I go through and pursue it, I find, oh, that was worth my time. I enjoyed that. I either got something cool from it or had an awesome new experience, learned something new about the story that I didn't know. Every single time, you're getting a little reward. And I don't even mean an in-game reward. Sometimes it's that, but not always. The way that this world is structured and put together is just immaculate, and I'm only scratching the surface. I mean, I'm still very early into the game. If you want to actually see me play through it, I have uploaded part 1 over on our Let's Play channel. You can check that out on the right side of your screen now. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.